Good morning. Welcome to a day in Mae Sot, Thailand. Not a lot is going to happen today in terms of going out and exploring. The main thing I'm going to do is change hotels. I'm moving from the Sleep Nest hostel to kind of a local hotel, like a vintage hotel. It's just around the corner. I initially booked my dormitory room here at the Sleep Nest just because the capsule style of the room looked interesting, and this place has kind of a hostel vibe with, you know, like right here you can see around me, it's like an outdoor seating area. They have a little bar over there. You can sit out here, have a beer at night and talk with other backpackers. And inside as well, they have kind of a lounge area with beanbag chairs, and you can sit there and watch TV and chat with people and all that kind of thing. So it's got a nice environment that way for, you know, hanging out with other foreigners that are traveling around Thailand. Most people that stay here are on their way into Myanmar or coming out of Myanmar because this is a border town. So people stay here just for one night, usually 2 nights at the most. They kind of get here, get organized for the border crossing. And another good thing about the Sleep Nest is that the staff here kind of understand that it's part of their duties to help these people organize trips to the border and then kind of give them information on how to go into Myanmar and what to do. You know, that's just part of the service that they offer here. So if you stay here, this guy will arrange for a tuk-tuk to pick you up in the morning at whatever time you need, take you to the border. You know, you go through customs and immigration, and I think they can even arrange or give you information about how to get a bus on the other side to go on to Pa'an or someplace like that. So that's kind of the vibe here. Very laid back, relaxing, good place to get a lot of information and logistical help and hang out with other foreigners that are doing the same thing that you're doing. I enjoyed my capsule room. As I might have pointed out in the video when I arrived here, they have double capsules down on the bottom, and then they have single capsules above them, and you have to sort of climb up a ladder to get up to those upper single capsules. They look large enough, I think, even for one person. You could bring your backpack up there, and it's pretty tight quarters. You know, you're not standing up in these capsules. You're sort of crouched down on your knees the whole time because the roof is right there, and you have to have all your belongings spread out around you, and you got to struggle a little bit to fit in there with all your gear. But they have a nice light switch and electrical outlets and all that kind of stuff. The big issue for me with the upper single capsules is that you have to climb a ladder to get in and out, and yeah, it's a bit of a hassle. So I went for the double capsule, meant for 2 people, so it was a lot roomier, a lot more space, and I was quite comfortable down there. And of course, being a hostel, it has a shared bathroom and all that kind of thing. So overall, there's really nothing to complain about with this place. You know, it's very nice. The staff are very friendly. You can get a lot of information here to help you continue with your travels. And as far as dormitory spaces go, this one's pretty nice. My one problem with it, and this is why I'm moving basically, is that it's overpriced. Everything I've described here, it's no problem at all. You know, I could even stay in one of the single capsules, shared bathroom. You know, it's got a little bit of a broken down vibe to it. A lot of the fixtures are broken that haven't been replaced. A little bit dirty, a little bit grotty. A lot of mosquitoes actually get into the dormitory area, so I was fighting with mosquitoes all night long, and I can't put my mosquito net up inside that little capsule. All of that stuff is fine, but at half the price that they're charging. My double capsule is about, I guess, $12 or $13 a night, and I found out that the basic hotels here charge about the same amount for a large double room with a private bathroom air conditioning, mini bar, mini refrigerator, and all that kind of stuff. So staying here does not make a lot of sense if you're paying, $13 a night, and for the same amount of money you can stay at a regular hotel. So that's basically why I'm moving. The other reason I'm moving, and perhaps maybe even a more important reason, is that as I was walking around the city exploring the other day, I stumbled across a hotel just around the corner, and it's exactly the kind of place that I just love. These are my favorite type of hotels. And I was so happy to find it right in this neighborhood, because most of the hotels with the reasonable charge for a big double room, they were a little bit outside of the downtown area and even outside of the city limits, and I didn't really want to go that far away. But, and this is an important lesson, not every hotel in the world is online yet. So there are all these hostels and hotels and things that are all on booking.com and agoda.com and all that kind of thing. But there are still a few holdouts. And I've come across these holdouts in a lot of cities, and they're always amazing to find. That, I had this experience in Bangkok where I was looking at all the hotels and guest houses kind of in the Khao San area down by the river, and I didn't like any of them. They were really expensive, and they were small, the little rooms with narrow hallways and bizarre stairways, and you get absolutely nothing for the money you're paying. But as I was looking at all of these different hotels, I stumbled across this big, I guess you would call it a vintage hotel, just sitting there, usually hidden a little bit down a little lane with a parking lot in front of it, and then there's this big cement building, and it's not listed anywhere. But I popped in there and found, let me get run over here. Like a big double room, very old-fashioned style, but everything was very clean and good condition, and the price was the same as these cheap little guest houses where you get absolutely nothing. So it's one thing to think about when you're out here backpacking around. You got to keep your eyes open for these vintage hotels. And the one I found here is called First Hotel, I believe. I saw a sign down by the street, and on impulse I just started following the sign. The sign didn't look like anything at all, so I thought, I don't know, this place probably won't amount to very much. But when I got there, I was so surprised to see that it was like one of these big vintage hotels. I don't know where they got the name, First Hotel from, or how old it is, but yeah, it's quite an old hotel, got a vintage style, and it just got better and better as I started checking into the place. They have this incredible decor of teak wood carvings everywhere. The ceilings are dominated by these massive carvings, and when they showed me the room, the headboard above my bed, it was like almost the entire wall was this elaborate wood carving. Really quite interesting. And then I was very pleased when I asked them how much the room was. Where I am now at the Sleep Nest Hostel, I think I was paying 425 baht a night for my double capsule. And on top of that, I had to leave them a 100 baht deposit for the key card. And if you want a towel, they charge you they ask for a 200 baht deposit for the towel. So, you're getting a 400 baht room, but then you have to hand over an extra 300 baht just as deposits for the key card and the towel. And it just feels like you're kind of it's just a bit annoying, You get the money back, but who knows, maybe someone steals your towel, you lose track of it, and now you're out 200 baht, But this place, the First Hotel, you know, they just supply everything. It's just like a big regular hotel room, and you don't have to worry about any of these details. Anyway, I went in to see the room, and they told me that it cost 450 baht per night. And that's a bit more than I would normally like to pay, but it's a big improvement over the 425 baht for my, you know, capsule. For just 25 extra baht, I can get like a full hotel room. So I reached the street where it's located. So it's just up here on the right. And when I talk about the sign, maybe you can see what I'm talking about. There it is up on the right there where it says First Hotel. And when I first saw it, I had no idea what it was even referring to. I thought maybe this big green and concrete thing here was First Hotel. And that really appealed to me because this kind of structure is a hotel that I really like. But it turns out that it's just around the corner here. There's like a parking area, and then the hotel is tucked away in the back there. I came here yesterday and I wanted to reserve a room for today, but they basically waved me off and says, nah, you don't need to reserve a room. We've got lots of rooms. Just come in the morning. So hopefully they have one. So there it is there. The First Hotel. And you can see some of the wood that I was talking about already. See how these are huge. Hello.
You want to?
Yeah, if I can take a room.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I'm checking in today first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want single or double?
What is the difference in price?
The same price.
Oh, the same.
You want to record you want okay.
Okay. Yeah. Take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ทะเลไปเปิดห้องให้เขาดูเขาจะถ่ายห้องเตียงเดี่ยวเตียงคู่ไหม
So yeah, look at the wood carving. Is this teak?
Yeah, all teak.
All teak. That's amazing. And up there. And then when you step inside. Hello. Oh, it's gonna go up. So it's a little bit dark in here, but you can kind of see, yeah, even inside here, the teak carvings on the ceiling. It's really cool. This whole thing, giant wooden beams everywhere. Ooh. Wooden banisters. Okay. And here we are up on the second floor. Look at this up here. Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay. Ah. So this is a double room, and there's the headboard over the bed. That is awesome. Air conditioner, and then all this wood furniture up at the front. TV and a mini fridge over there. All wooden paneling. Look at this dresser. That is so awesome. And this window, or this room, has a window looking out in this direction. Fridge and the bathroom. Yeah. Good. Just some more of this wood. There's some good light here. You can see the carvings here in the corner, and then this giant Looks like a catfish almost. Yeah, looks great.
Yeah.
Like 216 seemed good.
You want 216?
Yeah, is that okay?
216มีคนอยู่ไหมวันนี้มีคนอยู่เหรออย่าง you want 216?
Yeah, I think so. It looked good.
เอา216ให้เขา
Had a big window, nice and bright.
Yeah, okay.
So no problem with that room, you don't think?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's check in.
เอา216ให้เขาเอา
Okay, I'm all checked in. I just paid for 2 nights, and then I'm pretty sure I'll be staying longer than that, but we'll see how that goes. It's so exciting. So my new home. The key is supposed to be in here already. But I don't see it anywhere. So downstairs they told me the key was up here, but now that I'm up here, the young man is telling me that the key is downstairs, so we have to go get it. And I guess you can choose between 2 like twin beds or 1 large single bed. I'm not sure why, but I always end up going for the 2 separate beds, just because I spread out all my gear on 1 bed and then sleep in the other one. Check out my key. It's like I'm a jailer with my own giant ring. I think these guys think I must be out of my mind, you know. I'm just so delighted to be moving into this room and all the little touches that they have here. It's like has this guy never stayed at a hotel before? You know, why is he so excited? So I'm just gonna go exploring a little bit, see what's up on the 3rd floor. Same wood carvings on every floor. Got a nice balcony over here. Look at this place. The whole length of the hallway has these wooden carvings up on the ceiling. That is amazing. Okay, I'm very happy with my new home. Gonna head down, drop off some stuff, and then go back to the sleep nest to get my backpack. I haven't gone back to get my backpack from the Sleep Nest hostel yet. I'm still busy exploring this place. It's so exciting. There are so many switches everywhere, and I think a couple of them don't work, perhaps. I haven't figured out what these 2 switches are attached to, but everything else works. We got the lights. One thing about these hotels always makes me smile is that it's a good thing that I don't watch TV shows on television. I mean, I do watch TV shows and movies, but I just watch them on my computer. I don't need the TVs that are in the room. And that's a good thing because I never have any clue how to turn them on. I feel like I'm out of the loop or something. Like I've got this thing here. You know, there's a Samsung TV, and I've got some kind of a cable box over here that was unplugged. I plugged it in just to see what it did, and then I've got these 2 remotes over there. And I spent a few minutes just pushing every button I could find on all these different remotes and boxes and on the front of the TV. But nothing I can do will turn that TV on. Nothing. I mean, I have no idea. So a good thing for me is that I never have any idea how to turn on these TVs in these hotel rooms, but I don't need them anyway. I do need the air conditioner, and that turned on nicely, and it's only been on for a couple of minutes, but it already feels nice and cool in here. Beds are pretty firm, maybe, for some people. Maybe that's too hard, but I like that. I'm pretty comfortable on a soft mattress and a hard mattress, I find. It doesn't really make any difference to me, but this feels good to me. Another interesting thing I found is in the refrigerator, they have it stocked with some kind of special water. Let's go check it out. I was glad to see that the fridge was already plugged in and working. And all there is inside it is this water. And I'm going to try one of these just for fun. And it is Polaris drinking water, and I'm not sure if it's carbonated or what's going on, but they have a opener here. I don't see any bubbles, so I'm guessing it's not carbonated. Let's see how this water goes down. Filtered, purified, ice-cold Polaris drinking water. Nice. When I first saw the bottles in there, you know, actual glass bottles, I thought it was gin or vodka or something like that. But no, it's just water. Good stuff. Yeah, as I was saying, this place is such a great value compared to where I was. The Sleep Nest Hostel, you know, for a hostel, no, it's perfectly fine. It's pretty much what you'd expect. And staying in the dormitory didn't really work out for me, though. The weird thing is that I get hit from two different directions. I think most other people would be worried about the noise that other people make, or the disturbances coming from other people who are, you know, talking late at night, getting up early in the morning, or coming in late at night and banging and making a lot of noise. And that did happen. It was a pretty noisy place. In order to get up on the second floor, like the capsules that are up above, they have the ladders, but they also have this ladder on wheels with stairs on it. So if you can't make it up the ladder, you can actually grab this movable stairway and roll it back and forth to climb up. But that thing is made out of solid steel, and it's very old and rusty and noisy. So people moving that back and forth, it's like being on a factory floor. So there is a lot of noise all over the place, but the noise itself is not what bothers me. I'm used to stuff like that, and when I'm sleeping, I always use earplugs. When I'm on my computer, I always have earbuds in. So noise coming in from around me doesn't really bother me that much. But I'm so aware of the noise in a dormitory that I feel inhibited. Like, I don't want to move around myself. I don't want to do things. I feel like I can't get up and just live normally because I'm worried about making noise that's going to bother other people. So I was there for 2 nights, basically 1.5 days. But the whole time I didn't do anything or get anything done, because I just sort of sat there too nervous to move, you know, because I didn't want to bother other people. You know, that's kind of a weird thing. Anyway, I never could relax there. I couldn't really settle into my normal life. And there's all kinds of little problems inside the capsule, of course. I can't really plug in my kettle. I could have, but that kettle is really noisy. And I'm sure everybody would be wondering, like, what the heck is going on inside that capsule? What's that roaring sound coming out of that place? And obviously, you're not supposed to plug in electrical appliances inside a dormitory capsule. and you're not supposed to be in there mixing your own coffee and drinking coffee in there because, yeah, you're not supposed to. So I didn't, and they did have coffee available out in the lobby. And I thought, okay, that's great. You know, they got a kettle out there, you know, like a hot water dispenser, and they've got instant coffee. So, you know, when I wake up in the morning, I can go make some coffee. So, of course, I get all ready to do that. And I'm up pretty early. I was up like whatever it was, 6 a.m., already showered and ready to go. I go out into the lobby, and I've got my coffee cup. I've got my coffee in it and my creamer. I'm all ready to go. And, of course, the kettle is not plugged in. So there's no actual hot water waiting for me. So now I've got to fill up this hot water dispenser, plug it in, and then wait half an hour for this, you know, thing to heat up. And every time I went there to get water, hot water for a cup of coffee, it was either empty, like burning empty, or it was unplugged and wasn't even on, you know. So it's just like, can't even get a coffee here at this hostel. And like I said, you had to pay, you know, give them 100 baht deposit for this plastic little card that you use to get in and out, 200 baht for a towel. And here in this place, you know, I still can't get over this. You know, this is the giant key. And he was saying that this wrench is for water or something, to turn water on and off. But I have no idea what that means because there's water in the bathroom. But I did not have to give them any money for this key. And in the bathroom, come check this out. I mean, they're not luxurious Hilton 5-star bathrooms, but they supply, you know, 2 towels in the room, you know, toilet paper, which the Sleep Nest never had any toilet paper, and they provide soap. And, you know, I have my own bathroom, basically, and I don't have to give them any kind of, you know, 200 baht deposit for these towels. So I guess I'm saying 2 things. Hostel living and dormitory life is, you know, it's fine. I can deal with it, and there's a lot of advantages to it, but it's gotta be worth it. You know, it's gotta be half the price of a room like this, or why would you do it? Like even my double capsule, I think I was paying whatever it was, $12, $13 a night. That's with my booking.com genius discount of 15%. I think I saw it was as much as $17 a night without that discount. But that's only for one person. If there were actually 2 people staying in that double capsule, then the price goes up to like $18 a night. This room, it doesn't matter. You're paying for the room. You know, you pay for the room, it's your room. And if I was one person, it's $4.50 a night. If it's 2 people, it's $4.50 a night. They'd probably charge something extra for 3 or 4 people, I'm sure. But yeah, it's a double room, and you can put 1 person in it or 2 people if you want. At the hostel, no, the price goes up when you try to put 2 people into the double room. So it's just a very, very poor value overall. So I'm very happy to be here. I have to head back now and get my backpack. I was chatting with the young guy working at the Sleep Nest hostel. He's only been there 1 week, he said. You know, he's had a job there just for 1 week. He said I was his very first Canadian that he had to deal with checking in. So he's learning the ropes there. I told him about this hotel that I was moving into. And at first he didn't seem to recognize it. Like the name First Hotel didn't mean anything to him, and I described it, but didn't ring a bell with him. But after a few minutes, he kind of went, oh, like maybe I know the hotel. And he said, it's a vintage hotel. And I hadn't thought of it that way until he suggested it. And I said, yeah, it's an older vintage style hotel. And he said that it's very popular with NGO staff because they have so many refugees here from Myanmar that they have quite a sizable NGO presence in the city. And I guess when they need to put people up, the NGOs use this hotel. And I can understand why. It'd be the kind of place that would appeal to foreigners like me. It doesn't bother me that the fixtures in the room and the style, it's a little bit old-fashioned, a little bit run down. That's what I really like about it. It's such an awesome place. I wish I'd known about it beforehand. I definitely would have stayed there from the very first night. But then again, I enjoyed my time at the Sleep Nest. I didn't socialize a heck of a lot, but I did, spent a few minutes here and there chatting with people in the breakfast area over coffee and finding out where people are coming from, where they're going, That's always kind of interesting. That is one thing about being a foreigner, in other countries around the world. You do lose touch with your roots to a certain extent, at least I do. You're hanging out in a place like Malamine, and you never meet anybody else doing the same thing you're doing. It just feels weird after a while. You kind of lose sense of your identity, of who you are. It's like, okay, why am I in this city walking around visiting pagodas and stuff? What am I doing here exactly? Is this my life exactly? But of course, when you hang out at a hostel like this with 20 other backpackers just like you, all talking about the same thing, about how do I get to the border and where do I get my visa and how do I get from there to Pa'an, and all the things that we end up thinking about and valuing at the same time. They value the same sorts of experiences that I value, and they're all from, Germany and Italy, Spain, France, and they're all basically here to see the same things and experience the same things that I'm interested in. So it's sort of like, okay, I'm with my people, these are my people. I think my audio cut out on the video when I arrived here yesterday, so I wasn't really catching anything that I was saying. But this is the lobby and entranceway to the Sleep Nest Hostel, and this is where you have breakfast. You basically just sit in these chairs, wherever you can find a space, or you can sit out there. And they just put bread and bananas and toast here. And this is the outside of the building for the Sleep Nest. It's got that, like I said, a pure hostel vibe, a bit artsy, lots of paintings like this on the wall, quotations from Bob Marley everywhere, the peace, love, and understanding. And then they have this nice seating area outside. It's a bit unfortunate that it's right beside the road, though. I was sitting out here a little bit trying to chat with people, but then the traffic got so loud I couldn't hear what anybody was saying. So it was actually kind of hard to have a conversation. But this window goes right into one of the common areas with the TV inside there and the bean bags. And then they have just the one room, just that one dormitory space, and that's it. Just overall, I got the sense that the owners or managers had kind of given up on the place, that they built it and got everything ready, but then as things fell apart, they didn't really bother to fix things up again. So inside the shower stalls, for example, you can see where they used to have those individual dispensers for soap and shampoo. Every stall had one at the beginning, but they've all broken, and then they've never replaced them. And the bathrooms are really kind of weird because the toilet stalls and the shower stalls all had solid glass doors, like head to toe, pure solid glass, transparent glass. And then you think, well, that's kind of weird. Everybody can see you on the toilet and in the shower. But when you step inside and close the glass door, On the inside, there's a plastic curtain that you pull across the glass door. And I can't say I've ever seen that before. It's kind of interesting. But then even the plastic curtains were a little worse for wear. A lot of the hooks on the top were broken, and you tried to pull it across and it'd be drooping down, and people could look through the gaps, and you kind of got to arrange all the hooks to make sure that the door is completely covered. And then the bottom 1 or 2 feet of the curtain is just black with mold, mold and fungus growing up the shower curtains. And inside the shower stall, it's full of garbage, like people who would just go in with a new, bar of soap, take it out of the box and then throw the box on the ground, and no one ever cleans this stuff up. So the whole bathroom area just piled with, used up tubes of toothpaste, old empty shampoo bottles, shaving cream cans that are empty and rusting away, all this kind of stuff just lying all over the place. It looks pretty bad. So they're not really paying much for housekeeping and cleaning staff and stuff like that. So in the end, like I said, dormitory life in a hostel, I don't have a problem with it, but it's got to be a better value. They're just charging way too much there at Sleep Nest. You feel like you're being taken advantage of when you're staying there, and that's never a good feeling. An interesting thing about the first hotel, where I just checked in, is that there was no check-in process. I was offering them my passport, and they're like, no. And they had a form there that you're supposed to fill out with your name and address and phone number, all that stuff, and they just waved that away too. They said, no, you just pay us and you get the key and we're done. That's it. So it's kind of nice to have a very casual experience like that, coming after all of the more serious, check-in procedures in Myanmar that I had to go through. And here we are at my new home in Mae Sot. One thing I noticed when I was leaving to go get my backpack, these giant antenna complexes up there on the roof. There's no way that's for this hotel, of course. So they must rent out the space on the rooftop for the local, telecommunications companies to set up their antennas up there. Let's go in and get my giant jailer's key. I feel like I'm in an old pirate movie or some sort of adventure movie where I'm going to the jail cell to let somebody out or lock somebody up. All right, here I am in my new home. Now that I sat down on this bed, it's like, yeah, okay, that is a hard mattress. So I think if there are people out there that don't like hard mattresses, they would not be happy with this bed. That one is, that one's a little bit softer. Yeah, it's a big difference actually. Yeah, so. I'm so happy to be here. I cannot tell you. I just love, like I said, I love hotels like this. Vintage hotels, they're the best. And they're just so great if you can track them down, because they're not on booking.com, they're not on Agoda, they don't have computer systems, anything like that. So the only way to find these hotels is to walk around a city and then you spot them, and just walk in and see if you can get a room. And this place is so big and they have so many rooms, and because they can't book online, there's no question of me being kicked out. I paid for 2 nights, and if I'm going to stay longer than that, I don't have any stress about that. I don't have any concerns at all. Even at Sleep Nest, where I was staying, from the minute I checked in, I was already thinking and being pressured by the staff about how long are you going to stay and when are you going to check out and when are you going to do this, because we need to clean the room, and you have to let us know as soon as possible, because if you want to stay longer, you better let us know now, because we have people who want to book the room online, and you already feel homeless. I mean, you just checked into your hotel, which is supposed to be your home away from home. And the second I checked in, I already felt stressed, like I was going to be homeless in a very short time. But here, I can stay here as long as I want, and anytime I want to extend my stay, I just go down and they'll be happy to take my money and let me stay longer. So, I love this place. So, one question I've already answered, because I was going to talk about choosing the right bed to sleep in, that now that I have 2 beds. Sort of like me and restaurants, one of my many super talents is I always pick the worst table. When it comes to rooms, I always pick the worst room. That's why I was thinking so carefully about which room in this hotel should I pick. I'm looking at all the different rooms and I'm thinking, which one, and I have this habit of always picking the wrong one. And I had a good feeling about this room, room 216, mainly because it's a corner room, so I have no neighbors on that side. That's always a good thing, just in case you have noisy neighbors. There isn't no room on that side of the wall, just on this side. Any other room I could have picked would have had neighbors on 2 sides. Huge window over here, so a lot of light was coming in. The other rooms I looked at were more standard size, I think, and they just had one they felt smaller and darker and dimmer than this room. So I kept coming back to this one, but I kept thinking, there must be something wrong with this room. Like, what is it about it that is bad, So I just assumed I would pick the wrong room, but so far I think I chose wisely, as Indiana Jones would say. So I've got my Polaris treated, ozonated, and bottled by North Star Company Limited. That's funny, actually, now that I think about it. North Star. Are we even in the right hemisphere to see the North Star? And Polaris, with ice and snow and everything like that. It's like you can't get anything more out of place in Thailand than stuff like that. That feels like a very Canadian sort of thing, Polaris. Ice cold, North Star. Yeah, not to rag on the place, but I can't really think of anything about the Sleep Nest experience that I really liked, other than maybe the staff. The staff were very helpful, but even I find with hotel staff, there's kind of a continuum where you've got excellent service and professionalism on this continuum, and you've also got friendliness and personality and a sense of making you feel welcome is also on this spectrum. But quite often they trade off. Like if you stay at a very new, modern, expensive hotel, you probably get more and more professional, efficient service, but the friendliness disappears and it becomes a very cold, unwelcoming sort of experience. And on the other side of the spectrum, you might have a guy like the guy or the staff in general at Sleep Nest, very friendly, very helpful, very casual, to the point where, they're all hanging out in shorts, like no shirt, no pants or anything, no shoes or anything like that. They're just wearing shorts, so they're basically half naked, but they are the reception staff at the Sleep Nest, And he's very friendly. He'll chat with you forever and give you all kinds of help about where to go. He was very concerned about me because I wasn't doing enough things here. He wanted me to go to the spa and go here and go there. And I kind of had to tell him, I'm not really here to do that. I'm here to sort of get organized and get my visa to go back to Myanmar. So very friendly and very helpful, but at the same time, there was a trade-off because he was very unprofessional. Like when I first showed up there was nobody there. I mean, the door is locked. You can't go in because it's got an electronic security, magnetic lock. And there's nobody there at the desk, and there's no one anywhere. So it's completely empty and abandoned. That's what it felt like. And then there's a button to push, I guess, for ringing a doorbell or whatever, and I'm pushing the button. But I'm waiting outside this place, and there's nobody there. So very, very friendly, but it's not like they're sitting at the desk, at attention, waiting to leap into action, when their guest arrives and stuff like that. Something else that kind of bothered me about my short stay in the dormitory is that I mentioned that I felt inhibited because I didn't want to make noise to disturb the people around me. And in fact, the floor of my capsule was not like the cement floor of the building. There was actually kind of a wooden platform built on top of the foundations of the building. So there was some give and take in the wooden floor. And every time I moved, my floor would creak, 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 creak. So even as I was kind of moving around inside my capsule, I felt like I was making all these creaking noises that would be bothering people if there happened to be people, trying to sleep above me. So I felt like I couldn't even move in there. And I really like to, listen to podcasts. And sometimes if I'm not using earbuds, I'll just take my phone and use the speaker in the phone and just hit play on the podcast, whatever it is, and then listen to the podcast as I'm busy doing things and getting organized or whatever it is I'm doing. But in the dormitory, I couldn't do that because, can't be in there listening to a radio show on my phone. That would bother all the people around me. So it was nice to get the contrast, to get the experience of being in a dormitory, even for 2 nights. But yeah, it's not something I like to do. The last time I stayed in a dormitory was literally years ago. I went to Singapore, and Singapore is quite an expensive place. And I tried to really lower my budget while I was there. And I ended up staying in a dormitory in a hotel there, but it was just a terrible experience. Far, far worse than this place where I was staying. And that was the last time I stayed in a dormitory, other than just now at the Sleep Nest. The weird thing is I'm complaining about the conditions of my capsule, but I was staying in the lap of luxury compared to most people, because I was having a big double capsule on the floor all to myself. And most of the people there, or all the people that were by themselves, they were staying in the single capsules up on the second stage in order to save money. I think they were still paying like $11 a night. And the women that I saw were having the most trouble because they had pretty big, heavy backpacks, just as big and heavy as mine, and they couldn't really lift them up into their capsule. They were just too heavy to handle. So they would leave their backpack on the ground, on the floor, down below their capsule. So anytime they needed to get anything out of their bag, they had to climb down the ladder, unzip their bag and rummage through it, get stuff out, and then zip it back up again and climb back up into their capsule. And yeah, if you don't have a whole lot of money and you're trying to save money, you kind of have to do these sorts of things. But man, that was not a good living experience for these women. And of course, it's a mixed dormitory, men and women. So they have to deal with that as well, when they're dressing, undressing to go to bed and go to the bathroom, and they're conscious of being in a room full of men, and that can be a bit of a problem for them as well. Oh, I didn't mention this yet, though. There are so many things in that bathroom I could talk about. To get into the bathroom, they have these double sets of doors. If you've seen any of the King Kong movies, on the island, where they have those massive gates that open up, in the wall to keep King Kong out. These doors into the bathroom were like that. They were big and thick and heavy, and they had powerful springs in the hinges. So I had to use like most of my strength in order to like open that door. And of course, you're trying to be very quiet about this, and there's signs saying, you know, please, you know, be gentle with the door, don't slam the door, don't do any of that. But I swear, there's so much, you have to use so much force to open this giant door. It's almost impossible to hold it open in order to get through and then get a grip on the handle on the other side and then hold it so it doesn't slam shut again. And you've got your towel and your toiletries in your hand, and so it's really hard to get through that door and then just kind of hold on to it and then slowly close it. I was having trouble doing it, you know, and I'm a fairly big guy, and I just can imagine all these the young women that were staying in this place. How in the world were they getting through that door in and out of the bathroom all the time? That would be a real challenge for them too. And on top of that, the shower stalls, there were 3 of them for the men's bathroom. The one in the middle had a hot water heater, like an electric hot water heater. And then it had one of those bizarre combination shower heads. I've seen them a lot in Thailand, where it has kind of a regular shower head, a small directional one, and then a whole complex series of pipes and joints and connections going up to a big square one coming down from the ceiling. So there's 2 different ways the water can come out, through this directional, small shower head, or coming out of this big square one coming down from the ceiling. And I swear, you need a PhD in plumbing to figure out all of the knobs and the dials and the valves and the buttons in order to figure out where the water is going to come from. You know, you really had to be careful. I got taken by surprise once, you know, because I was, you know, turning all the valves and things, but no combination of valve would get any water coming out of any of these things. And then I realized that the electric water heater also had a pump in it, and you have to push this big flat button on the heater in order to get to pump the water through the system. So no matter what you did with the valves, you're not going to get any water until you turn on the pump in the heater. So I was like, oh, I got to turn that on. So I push in the button, and as soon as I push in the button, I get blasted in the face with this stream of water because it was coming out of the small shower head, and the person who had used it before me had left it pointing like vertically or horizontally straight at my face. So I pushed the button and just like I get hit with this flow of water, and I'm like, fighting it off and trying to turn it down. And then you have to work with all of these valves to try to figure out how to get water to come out of the top shower head. It's like, okay, if I turn that one off and I turn that one on, you know, the water stops completely, nothing is coming out of there. So it's like, okay, I'll turn this one on, that one off, and the one down at the bottom seems to be the master valve. I turn that one on, you know. There's 3 different valves, and one combination of the 3 valves plus the pump eventually gets the water to come out of one of these shower heads. It's impossible to figure out. After I figured it all out, I went in there a second time, and there was a guy in there, it was a Japanese man, and he was shaving or brushing his teeth or doing something. And then as I came in, he knew I was coming in to take a shower, and he stopped me and he said, no, there's no water. And he told me no water in any of the showers, you know, so don't try to take a shower, there's no water. So I knew instantly what the problem was. He had gone in there to take a shower, but he just couldn't figure out the valves and everything. And I had to show him. He says, yeah, what you got to do is you push the button on the pump, and now you get water, and then you have to adjust all these valves. And he was like, oh, that's how you get water. So it wasn't just me. I wasn't the only one being a dummy. And the shower stall itself was quite small. And then we get, of course, to my particular pet peeve. I was inside this cement stall for the shower with a glass door on one side with a plastic curtain covered in black mold, which you just do not want to touch. Garbage everywhere. It's got one dish for soap, but you can't put your soap there because it's full of all this other garbage that people have left behind. So there's like no place to put anything, and of course, no hooks. not a hook anywhere to be seen. So you're in there with your towel and your shorts and your toiletries bag, and you're like solid cement all around you, and there's nowhere to hook any of this stuff up. So all you can do is take everything and drape it over the door, basically, so it's hanging, you know, draped over the door to put your towel and your shorts, and then you got to somehow find a place to hook in your toiletries kit. And just was not well organized at all. Yeah. So by the time you get in and out of the shower, you're exhausted because I don't know, you have to hold your body so tense, you know, because you're in this tight little space and you're turning like this and hooking things up, and then you're trying to take a shower and wash your hair, and the whole thing was just uncomfortable. And then, of course, when I found out that I'm paying just as much for that experience as for this glorious place, well, it was a very easy decision to come here. Anyway, time to unpack and get organized in my new room. Got a nice, at first I thought there were drawers in all these things here, like they were dressers or something, but they aren't. They're just big, heavy pieces of furniture, but they have a nice flat wood and marble top. And that one over there, that is going to be my coffee and noodle station for my electronic cup, which I didn't get to use over the last couple of days because I couldn't really use this at the hostel in the dormitory. But now I'm free to boil water for coffee and noodles, anything I like. Got my my clothing cube, all my clothes in there. And I think this bed over here, the slightly softer one, that's going to be my sleeping bed. And I think I will use this piece of furniture over here for all my other gear. Keep it nice and organized over there. This is my coffee and creamer bag. It's all in there, all my instant coffee. And I've got my mosquito net. I don't think I'm going to set it up right now. I'll wait and see if there are any mosquitoes in this room. And if they do show up, then I'll figure out a way to set this up. Is my air conditioner working? I think it is. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's something else about the dormitory experience, because there was air conditioning in there, but of course it's air conditioning for the whole dorm, you know? You can't control it individually for your capsule. And that is not that great. I found when I first showed up there, I was actually there pretty early relative to, I guess, most of their guests show up late in the day. They're actually more efficient, a lot more efficient than I am. So these are people that are starting in Bangkok, for example, or Chiang Mai, and they want to get to Pa An in Myanmar. So they'll take like a bus from Bangkok the whole day to get to Mae Sot, spend one night here, and then they go from here to Pa An. So they do it, you know, very, very fast. They're not going to spend a week here in this town like I'm going to. So they show up late in the day. So when I showed up, I was the only one there. Well, there's like one other long-term stayer, I think, and that's about it. Because nobody's in the rooms, they hadn't turned on the air conditioning yet. So I show up and I'm moving into my capsule and I'm relaxing and trying to get organized. But the whole time, the dormitory is really, really hot because, yeah, the air conditioning wasn't on yet. I had no control over the over the air conditioning. If I had to criticize this room a little bit, I might say that it's just a bit dark. You know, all this heavy, dark wood. The ceiling is a little bit low, perhaps. And over here by the bed, there's just this one light. And it's quite a dim light. And I would normally take that light bulb and change it, plug in my own light bulb, like a good 100-watt bulb. But when I was in Kuala Lumpur, my light bulb broke, just stopped working. And I made 2 trips or 3 trips to Maiden to buy a new light bulb. And every single bulb that I bought was defective. And I couldn't get any of them to work, or they all blew up when I plugged them in. I have no idea what was going on. But in the end, I ended up I've got no light bulb with me. I normally travel with my own bulb for exactly this situation, so I could plug it in and just brighten this room up a little bit. But I don't have a light bulb. Maybe I'll buy one later on when I'm out in the city. And that's one of my most important pieces of gear, because there's only one electrical outlet by the bed. There's a couple around the room, but there's only one here, and this gives me 4 outlets to work with, which is very handy. Yeah, my poor computer. Man, it's having a tough time. Now the hinge on the back is broken, and every time I try to open up the screen, it like splits the computer open along here. And if I'm not careful, I kind of have to hold this tight as I move the screen, because if I don't, it opens up the computer here, and that actually disconnects the computer, because that's where the power plugs in. And I find when I open up the screen, it splits open the case, and then it does something in there where the power gets disconnected and the computer shuts down. It's like, this thing is so delicate now, I have to treat it like it's made of brittle glass. You know, like I don't want to touch it, because the second I touch anything on that computer, just power goes out and it shuts down. He says the key is here.
Keep that. Key.
Yeah? Oh, okay. Oh, look at that. Ah. Yeah, you can't walk around with that, eh?
Nah,
Oh, okay.
keep that.
Oh, okay.
Someone forgotten back to Bangkok. I lost that.
Right.
216, huh?
Yeah, it's 216. Oh, I see. So they always keep it here.
And who open the button? Drinking water.
Oh, that's for water?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can take this to the room now, but leave it here when I go out.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. Check out my key. It's like I'm a jailer with my own giant ring.